Stop right there, before you scroll away. Let me ask you something most people are afraid to face. What if the version of you that everyone knows is the exact version that's holding you back? Think about it. Your habits, your reputation, your patterns, and your weaknesses. They're familiar, and because they're familiar, they're predictable. And in a world that watches, judges, and limits you, being predictable is a prison. 2026 isn't about becoming louder, it's about becoming unrecognizable. Not to disappear out of fear, but to disappear with intention. Today, we're going to talk about how to disappear and transform yourself without announcing it, without explaining it, and without asking for permission. Because the most powerful transformations happen in silence. Before we go any further, drop this in the comments. I choose silent transformation. Good. Let's begin. Number 1. Why you must disappear first. Here's the truth no one likes to admit. You cannot transform while everyone is watching. The moment people know your plans, they attach expectations to you, they remind you of who you used to be, and they subtly pull you back into old roles. They don't need to sabotage you, but familiarity is gravity. Machiavelli understood this, and he warned that open change invites resistance. When people see you shifting, they either try to control you or stop you. That's why disappearing isn't weakness, it's strategy. When you remove access to your life, you remove interference, no opinions, no commentary, and no unnecessary friction. You stop performing, and you start building. Drop this in the comments. I remove myself to rebuild myself. Number 2. The danger of announced growth. Most people announce their transformation. They post about it, they talk about it, and they seek validation for it, and that's exactly why it fails. The brain rewards talking about change the same way it rewards doing it, so you feel accomplished before anything has happened. And once the applause fades, the discipline disappears. Worse than that, when you announce growth, people expect consistency from the old you. They say things like, "You've changed, you're not like you used to be, and what happened to you?" Those aren't compliments, they're anchors. Disappearing protects your transformation from outside pressure and internal ego. Real growth is quiet, ugly, and repetitive, and no one claps for it, and that's why it works. Drop this in the comments. I build in silence. Number 3. Cutting access without burning bridges. Disappearing doesn't mean vanishing completely. It means reducing access. You stop explaining yourself, you stop oversharing, and you stop responding instantly. You become less available, but more intentional. Machiavelli wrote that control over visibility is control over perception, and if people can't track your every move, they can't predict you. This isn't arrogance, it's boundaries. You're not ghosting life, you're withdrawing energy from places that drain you, and redirecting it inward. Think of it like this. You, Dan T., need to announce that you're re-going to the gym. You just go, and one day, people notice the results. That's the power of delayed visibility. Drop this in the comments. Access to me is earned. Number 4. The death of the old identity. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. To transform, something in you must die. Old habits, old coping mechanisms, and old identities you've outgrown, but still cling to. Including the version of you that procrastinates, the version that seeks approval, and the version that escapes instead of confronts. You cannot drag that version into the future. Disappearing gives you space to grieve who you were without being pulled back into it. This is where most people fail. They try to add discipline, focus, and confidence without removing distractions, excuses, and weak patterns. Transformation is subtraction before addition. Drop this in the comments. I let the old version go. Number 5. Structure over motivation. While you're gone, you don't rely on motivation. Motivation is emotional, and emotions fluctuate. You build structure, fixed routines, non-negotiable habits, and boring discipline, including the same wake-up time, the same training schedule, and the same work blocks. Machiavelli believed power came from consistency, not intensity. You don't need dramatic change, you need repeatable systems. This is how average people become dangerous, not through bursts, but through permanence. Every day you show up quietly compounds. No one sees it, and that's the point. Drop this in the comments. I trust the process, not my feelings. Number 6. Shadow work. In isolation, when the noise fades, something else appears. Your shadow. The doubts you've been avoiding, the anger you've suppressed, and the fears you've numbed with distraction. Disappearing forces you to face yourself without filters. Carl Jung warned that what we avoid internally controls us externally. This phase isn't aesthetic, it's uncomfortable. But integrating the shadow is what gives you depth, presence, and emotional control. You stop reacting, and you start choosing. That's transformation. Drop this in the comments. I face myself fully. Number 7. The return unrecognizable. One day, you reappear. You don't announce it, and you don't explain it. You just move differently. You speak less but with certainty. You tolerate less but with calm, and you act with clarity. People will say, you seem different. You're more focused, and you're not as available anymore. And that's how you know it worked. You didn't change for attention, you changed for alignment. And now, your presence speaks before you do. Drop this in the comments. I return stronger. Let me leave you with this. You don't need to reinvent yourself publicly. You don't need permission, and you don't need validation. You need space, you need silence, and you need discipline. Disappearing isn't running away, it's stepping back so you can move forward with force. 2026 doesn't belong to the loud, it belongs to the focused. So here's the real question. Will you keep living as the version everyone expects? Or will you disappear long enough to become the version no one can control? Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I disappear to transform. If this video resonated, like it. If you want more truth that sharpens instead of soothes, subscribe. And if you know someone who needs a reset, send this to them. Disappear quietly. Return unmistakably. I'll see you in the next one.